Controversial author Robert Spencer was in Calgary last week. Now, Robert Spencer is really only controversial because he is a vocal critic of radical Islam. And Spencer was in Calgary to give a lecture about political and radical Islam hosted by the newly founded Jewish Defense League branch. Spencer's speech and writings frequently cite the Quran and the speeches and teachings of radical Islamic leaders. Because if you want to know what radical Islam teaches and promotes, look to their book and their people. Makes perfect sense to me. Now, security was tight, but the room was packed, and people from all different religions and backgrounds were there to hear what Spencer had to say. And he was highly critical of the failings of the Western world to acknowledge the motivations behind jihadi attacks and terror cells. Here.
It recently came to light there was a 16-year-old boy in Australia, and he was planning an attack, a large-scale jihad terror attack there on Anzac Day, the day commemorating the victory in World War II. And he was in a de-radicalization program. Now, what is a de-radicalization program? It's a program that counter-terror analysts like Max Abrams have developed in order to take young jihadis and make them see the error of their ways. And what they do is they teach them the real Islam, which is peace. The problem is, this Quran that I have right here is the real Quran. And it's not really all that peaceful. And so we know that's not going to work. Thank you. And not only that, but because these people are committed to the idea that the Islamic State has nothing whatsoever to do with Islam, and it's a twisting and a hijacking and a perversion of the real Islam, they cast about for these other explanations for what this could possibly be all about. And it's really, you see, because our youth are disenfranchised and we have not given them sufficient opportunities. And so I was reading about this young man's de-radicalization program. Do you know what it was? They gave him a membership to the gym.
Sounds like Trudeau. Remember this? Beauty here.
Only a couple of hours after something has happened that clearly was not an accident in Boston. People have died, many people are injured. You're the Canadian Prime Minister. What do you do?
First thing, you offer support and sympathy and condolences, and can we send down EMTs, or as we contributed after 9/11. Is there any material immediate support we have? We can offer. And then at the same time, over the coming days, we have to look at the root causes. Now, we don't know now whether it was terrorism or a single crazy or a domestic issue or a foreign issue. All those are questions. But there is no question that this happened because there is someone who feels completely excluded, completely at war with innocence, at war with a society. And our approach has to be, okay, where do those tensions come from?
And of course, the leftist media had a field day with the mere fact that Spencer's feet had touched the ground in Calgary. Before a word had even left his mouth, the Calgary Herald had ran to Imam Saeed Sohrawardy for comment. Sohrawardy told the Herald that Spencer's mere presence and words would cause a fracture in the faith community in Calgary. That's interesting, because I was there at the lecture and Sohrawardy wasn't, and I didn't see much division. I saw people from different faith groups, Jews, Christians, and others, all united against the threat of radical Islam. Next time, the brave Imam should come and listen for himself. But he won't. We know that's not his style. Sohrawardy doesn't like free speech. He brought a human rights complaint against the boss, Ezra Levant, for publishing the Danish cartoons of Mohammed years ago. We know Sohrawardy isn't open to other ideas, something the Herald left out of their story to attack Spencer and the JDL. CBC was just as bad, of course. They ran to Sohrawardy too. They did their best to smear the JDL as terrorists and Spencer as an anti-Muslim blogger. Perhaps the CBC reporter should have stayed to hear Spencer defend the Ismaili Muslim sect. Here.
They are a peaceful sect. Here again, a very small, a tiny group within Muslims worldwide. And unfortunately for us, the mainstream Sunni and Shiite groups that are 99% of Muslims worldwide, they all teach, all the sects that are mainstream, teach that Muslims must wage war against and subjugate unbelievers. And so when we see Ismaili spokesmen or Ahmadi spokesmen, however convincing they may sound, they are unfortunately not representative. And putting them out there as representatives is only misleading into complacency.
Now, I didn't hear anything anti-Muslim. I heard a lot of anti-radical Islam and anti-political Islam talk, though, and I think normal people outside the leftist media know the difference. I talked to Don Sharp with the Jewish Defense League of Calgary about how he thought Spencer's talk went. Here.
Well, we filled the room. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves and Robert's talk. He got a couple of standing ovations. There were great questions tonight. I was surprised at how knowledgeable this room was. There could have been some more hard questions. I would have liked to have seen some of the people who gave us such a hard time about this event show up.
Today in the Calgary Herald, Imam Sohwardi was very critical of tonight's event. He said it would cause division in the faith community. Do you think that's what happened here tonight?
Well, I guess if that's what asking questions does, if maybe he'd like to just, maybe we should just all do it his way. I don't think that's going to happen.
Now, I was grateful for the opportunity to listen to Spencer's fact-based analysis of radical Islam and how the West is failing to address it. And being there for the whole talk, and now reading the news coverage the next day and days gone by, I'm disgusted, but not surprised that anyone who utilizes the CBC as their main news source would think that Spencer is a hate preacher and Sohwardi is a tolerant vessel of peace and love. Don't believe the liberal media. I don't. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.